For many boxing fans, the name Bernard Hopkins is associated with a successful reign, dominating boxing for decades. Although Hopkins has built a reputation inside the ring, the most incredible aspect of his life are the hardships he endured on the journey towards the top of the middleweight division. On this edition of Outside the Ropes, we will highlight Bernard's troubling past, bringing to light this almost too crazy to be true story of a boxer from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Before Hopkins was granted the nickname the Executioner, he was an impoverished kid who was raised in the Raymond Rosen housing projects in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Being exposed to such a violent environment from an early age, crime was the only thing he knew. By the age of only 13 years old, he was mugging people and had already been stabbed 3 times.
The tip fell short of my heart. Punctured lung, I believe I had, but it was more of a badge of honor that somehow you escaped death.
At the age of 17 years old, Hopkins was convicted as an adult and sentenced to 18 years in prison for strong-armed robbery. While locked up at Narrated Penitentiary, Hopkins tells stories about violent altercations that he witnessed behind bars.
Yeah, I've seen people get stabbed in the neck for TV because the guy came up and he turned the station, or he accidentally stepped over the plug and the plug came out and something good was on.
Hopkins walked on eggshells for a year and a half in prison before he was introduced to a guy by the name of Michael Wilson, aka Smokey Wilson. He would train with a group of guys and fell in love with the sport of boxing. He eventually started gaining a reputation inside the walls of Narrated Penitentiary. He joined a boxing league where he would be bussed in handcuffs to box an opponent from another prison. He grew to be one of the top boxers in a league consisting of 37 prisons spanning from Philly to Pittsburgh. He was the Narrated prison champion, and because of that, he earned the respect of his prison mates as he competed to represent Narrated across the state of Pennsylvania. In 1988, Hopkins was released from prison on good behavior. During this time, he lived in a halfway house for 9 months, still surrounded by the violence and crime he grew up on. At this point, he was at a crossroad: either return back to a life of crime or train harder and pursue the sport of boxing. I could end the story here, roll the credits, and say that he never lost a fight going forward, but that's not true. He lost his first fight out of prison to a guy by the name of Clinton Mitchell in a 4-round bout. Mitchell retired with a professional record of 3-1-1. This loss hit Hopkins hard, as he stopped fighting for an entire year. Once again, he could either keep training or return to prison. After the 1-year hiatus, Hopkins began training harder than he's ever trained before, kickstarting a 10-year winning streak, winning 20 straight bouts. To this day, Bernard Hopkins still holds the record for the longest reign as the middleweight champion in history.